Feuchamaich ye Olde Scot the Celtic podcast. Kimraha Huladunya, how is everyone? On today's show in Feuchamaich Beagan Gaidhlig, that's Let's Try Little Gaelic. The Beginner's Gaelic book, Winter's Night. Celtic history, it's the Elixir of Life, Part 1. In Everyday Celtic Ways, the Red Dragon of Welsh History. Then we're going to hear music from Jamie McGeechan, Rachel Sermani, Karen Matheson, Cruin, and Anna MacDonald. And it's a wee bit of Irish trivia to test your knowledge to start us off. Alright, what is boxty made of? And here's a hint, it's a traditional Irish food. Check out the Ye Olde Scot Facebook group where you can be a part of the Celtic culture, and keep an eye out for all the different videos our YouTube channel and Facebook group have to offer. Feuchamaich, let's kick this thing off. And this one today is on Olde Ban. Now the woman or girl in this is the subject of this song is she's heartsick, whereas she puts it Gurachin a galar an cry, which means what a deadly sickness is love. Now she pines for a fair-haired young man who is handsome, of course. She deeply laments for him and wishes to give him her hand, but alas, she is, in her words, alone without you, lamenting on a knoll. Man, I feel for that woman. Alright, remember the Gaelic's on top, the English is on the bottom, so get ready for this wonderful song arranged by Capper Cayley. Enjoy. Scottish Gaelic is native to the Gaels of Scotland. Scottish Gaelic developed out of the Old Irish, and learning this beautiful language can be a direct link to your Gaelic ancestors. Follow along in Feuchamaich Beagan Gaidhlig, and like I said, let's try a little Gaelic. Alright, I'm not an authority on the Gaelic language, I just love learning it. I struggle like most. What I teach comes from well-respected Gaelic teachers, so I hope you find it interesting, informative, and fun. And as always, I always display on the screen what I'm discussing. Today, it's that Beginner's Gaelic book. This is going to be the last one. A Winter's Night. Oithia Garagi. She and Garaga va a fas dorka. Va na solus achian air, va na solus air, bounce natayan. Va na solus air na kerliken, amui air anrat. Va na kerliken ula astai, ansen tai akahen. Agus va a clown ula a stai kujik. Hula iet and tushka a bragel an unyik. Hula iet a go vor amwi. Va a chain of fuam ounce and shimmer. Ach karo dadia stai, va eshin amwi ach nakhorak. Hunyik a Alistair amwi, va Alistair osh agus va a fuer ski. Hanek daddy astai horse daddy, ha'i fura noch, agus ha Alistair Buck amwi ansen storm. Horse mommy, hor astai Alistair Buck, hunya chin, vi a ko fuer amwi. Hanek Alistair astai, va I goose aragig, lesh en fuak. Shwi a rish achinia, horsh Alistair, oh, hashol ma, ha a fuer, amwi anok. Hook mommy brought che do Alistair. Hook a brought do yadi, agus don a hula dunya. Va and brought ma, agus va and chinia bla. Va Alistair holocha, agus va a clown holocha. Kai daddy yaki. Lay Alistair an Sahar, an Oithia ut. Top left.
If I could take this wave to sea, do you think that we could sail out in the night? we must let no one know. So maybe if we go, we'll go unseen. I'll sing below the ripples, heed the seashells of the storm, and we'll swim, knowing they can't touch us. We'll swim, knowing they can't touch us. If eyes could stop their rumored lies, do you think that we could venture to the light? I'd even play my violin, scratching on the strings, a laughing joy. I don't want to be that crashing wave, but I'll give it one more try. And we'll swim, knowing rain can't touch us. We'll swim, knowing rain can't touch us. We'll swim, knowing rain can't touch us. We'll swim, knowing they can't touch us. And I'll shelter you from harm, and my love will keep you warm until all these fears have gone. And we'll swim, knowing rain can't touch us. We'll swim, knowing rain can't touch us. We'll swim, knowing rain can't touch us. We'll swim, knowing they can't touch us. Let me swim, let me swim, let me swim, let me swim into the coast. Breathe easy. Let me swim, let me swim, let me swim, let me swim into the coast. Breathe easy.
Celtic history brings you the tales of the land, castles, warriors, heroes, legends, and customs that have created the rich, vibrant, and sometimes strange and wonderful history of the Celtic world. Alright, so the chalice she's holding has a bunch of grapes engraved on it, but that's not what's inside. Oh no. Come a little closer and I'll share with you a secret, and it begins with the bees. In ancient times, Ireland was renowned for its abundance of honey. In fact, Gerald of Wales, who was Archdeacon of Brecon in the 12th century, claimed there would have been more still if not for the bitter and poisonous effect of the land's many yew trees. Now, the Irish word for bee is beck, pronounced beck, with a soft CH sound in the back of your mouth. In Old Irish, it was beck. Bees were considered so important that they had a complete section all to themselves in the Brehon laws, called Bech Brea, which means bee judgments. Now, I love the Brehon laws. They had a section regarding women's rights, children's rights, fosterlings, protecting trees, caring for the sick, injured, and disabled. But here they're looking after the bees. Now, I'm not sure what stage our Irish ancestors began keeping bees in hives. The Bech Brea talks a lot about finding swarms. which makes me think that perhaps most of the honey they obtained was from the wild. Now, although hives are also known to swarm, it could have been anyone. For example, if someone found a swarm on the grounds of a house, according to brand law, he would be entitled to keep a quarter of the bees and honey, but the rest would go to the house's owner. If he found a swarm in a tree, he would get half. If he found it on common tribal grazing ground, he would keep all but 1/9, which must go to the clan chieftain. Now, an owner of bees was required by law to donate portions of his annual yield of honey to his neighbors because his bees would be gathering pollen from flowers on their land, and every 3rd year he was to give them a swarm. Now, destroying a swarm or hive of bees was considered a serious offense. If someone was stung by someone else's bees, they were entitled to compensation. A woman separating from her husband would be entitled to take a swarm with her, or be compensated with a year's supply of honey. These lawmakers sure thought of everything, I'm telling you. Now, there is a story in the Brecht Brea about a king of Ulster named Congal, in which it was written that Congal was blinded in one eye by bees owned by Donald MacEdw. Now, this disability meant he was forced to relinquish his position as King of Tara, and thus High King of Ireland. A king, of course, at that time was required to be physically whole and unblemished. Otherwise, it was thought that he would bring misfortune to his people. Now, in return, the men of Ulster demanded that the eye of Donald's son be put out as punishment. Quite literally, an eye for an eye. So if the early people of Ireland had so much honey, what did they do with it all? Now, you have to remember that this was their only source of sweetener. Apart from fruit and berries, it was very valuable and much sought after a commodity, probably confined mostly to the more wealthy. Now, they mixed it with milk to make a drink, mixed it with lard as a flavoring, used it as a dip at meal times for meat, fish, and bread, used it to flavor their porridge from grains, and basted meat and fish with it during roasting and grilling. Now, according to mythology, when Queen Maeve and her husband, Edel, hosted a young local chieftain named Freke to a huge feast in his honor, the salmon he was served was basted in honey. Now, this was well made by their daughter, Finnabar. Sounds like a bit of matchmaking was going on there for me. Now, in Ireland, the saint of beekeepers is Govnut, who was a 5th century nun. The anglicized version of her name, Deborah, means honeybee. Now, she is said to have saved her village, Ballyvourney, an Irish Ballyvourney, in County Cork, from enemy soldiers by releasing her bees on them. She is also credited with aiding a devout local chieftain in battle by turning his bees into an army of men. Wow. Today, we are all well aware of the health benefits and medical uses of honey. Well, maybe it's not some. Healing with substances provided by bees has a name: apothecary. Now, who knew? Modern science has told us that honey has antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, anti-mutagenic, it reduces the mutation of cells, that's what that means, anti-tumor, and anti-diabetic properties, and speeds the healing of wounds. Now, our ancestors were well aware of all this and made full use of it. However, honey wasn't only golden treasure to be bestowed upon mankind by those industrious little creatures. Oh no. Man found something he could do with honey that he liked even better than stirring it into his porridge or applying it to his wounds. And he named it me, or as we know it better today, mead. And we will discuss this on next time on Celtic History.
Is there for all his poverty that hangs his head, and oh, that the coward slave we pass him by, we dare be paid for all that, and oh, that our toils obscure, and oh, that the rank is but the guinea's stamp, the man's a gowd for all that. What thou unhamely fare we dine, were hard and grey and all that. Ye fools are silks and knaves are wine, a man's a man for all that. For all that and all that, their tinsel showed and all that. The honest man who else he pair is king of men for all that. You see yon Berkey, ca the Lord, was struts and stairs and all that. Though hundreds worship at his might, he's but a coof for all that. For all that and all that, his ribbon star and all that. The man who independent mind, he looks and laughs at all that. Is there for on his poverty that hangs his head and all that? The coward slave, we pass him by, we dare be paid for all that. For all that and all that, our toils obscure and all that. The rank is but the guinea stamp, the man's a gowd for all that. For all that and all that, it's common yet for all that. That man to man the world shall brothers be for all that.
Everyday Celtic Ways brings you the mythology, traditions, and customs that have created a unique and personal culture that still affects those that are Celtic and those that just love the Celtic world.
The Red Dragon. This is the story of two dragons clinched in bloody battle. Sharp talons ripping through scaly flesh as fire bursts forth from fang-filled jaws. One red dragon versus one white dragon in a battle for the claim to a Welsh castle. Wales is synonymous with the red dragon. Just look at their flag. You'll see who the Welsh were cheering for. But not many people actually know where the legend of the red dragon comes from. In the 5th century, during a time of great turmoil with Britain, the Romans had left a great void, and Celtic tribes vied for control and power. The Celtic king, Vortigern, decided that he quite fancied building a castle on the lofty mountain of Dinas Emrys in Wales to show off his might and prestige. Every day his men would tirelessly work to build the towers, but every morning they'd arrive on site to find their hard work reduced to rubble. The king sought the advice of a young but accomplished druid named Merlin. Now Merlin revealed that beneath the castle's proposed site was a hidden lake. It was home to two dragons, and the king would have to deal with these two mighty beasts before he could build his castle. The king demanded that the lake be uncovered and drained. His men turned their efforts to that cause, and once it was the two dragons, one red representing the Welsh and one white representing the English, started to fight. You see, these two great dragons had been in a pitched battle eons ago for the right to call this land theirs. But the fight dragged on for centuries, and an ancient druid who feared the two mighty beasts would destroy the land before either won the fight cast a spell on them that trapped them within the very thing they both desired. It would be man who would decide who would get this land, but it seemed man was equally as determined to fight and unwillingly destroy what they also wanted. The Red Dragon, who was equally tired of this battle and only wanted to live in peace, threw his entire efforts into the fight and emerged triumphant over the White Dragon, who was banished to the lands in the east. Vortigern's castle was finally built and duly named Dinas Emrys, which means the city of Emrys in Welsh, in honor of Midrin Emrys, Merlin's city. And the Red Dragon has been celebrated and had been an iconic symbol of Wales ever since.
Usk mi yn rhaid gadiwn draen sy'n eich Gacw mi brwch yn sŵnd Wsan am frwad yr an Wsan am smoen Sloen ioch mo chadals mo hoen Fain mo fian chafi a chwysar i'm hyf Gawn symud gycier y gan la Tiwn dygnad garstian am chwmal gydlw Stanel flaeth mo grwai Gyr Seg jedeg na haiche fo holas nan rail Gach rana ge jarsig yn sglio Hokin mo hwlrwt mar flwysir y grein Join kiad flaser do fog Gyr
Top 11 Heritage. Now remember to check out my YouTube channel. It's got Celtic music, podcasts, Gaelic language, Gaelic song, Celtic history videos, plus lots more. and my Facebook group where you can give me your inputs and insights on all things Celtic. But before I let you go, the trivia question answer. A traditional Irish potato pancake often cooked on a cast iron grill over an open fire. Martian leaving Dresden, bye for now. But I'm going to let you go with a song.
Goodbye, Bobby.
Young Annie was a lady born in Kingsale, County Cork. Before she was but 3 years to Carolina she sailed. She married a pirate who turned coat to her shame. She ran off with Jack Calico, a pirate of great fame. Young Annie Bonny sailed the sea where the best mastered cutlass and pistol, and escaped the hangman's noose. The Endeavour, and yo-ho, the rum it flowed, but His Majesty's Navy was ready this time. The crew being punch-drunk, Annie led the stand. She drew cutlass, drew pistol, but stood 20 to 1. Young Annie Bonny sailed the sea where the best mastered cutlass and pistol, and escaped the hangman's noose. Annie went to see Jack, the gallows been his fate. You'd fought like a man, it's not like a dog you'd hunt. Jack and his crew met the hangman at dawn. Young Annie escaped, and legend has it set sail. Young Annie Bonny sailed the sea where the best mastered cutlass and pistol. Young Annie Bonny sailed the sea where the best. Young Annie Bonny sailed the sea where the best mastered cutlass and pistol, and escaped the hangman's noose.